Good morning, everyone. Hi. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. We are two of your three city coordinators. I'm Lauren Finnegan.
I'm Christy Torres.
And a little bit of background on 1 Million Cups. It is a weekly and free program to help build startup communities on a grassroots level. Produced by the Kaufman Foundation. This program helps build, educate, engage local communities one cup at a time.
Yeah. Each company is going to get 6 minutes to pitch and 20 minutes Q&A with the audience. We'd like to thank you guys for coming out. Today we have Obaa Health and Startup Alerts presenting. We'd also like to give a thank you to our sponsors, Opening Bell Coffee, for keeping us caffeinated. They're bringing you your coffee. Woo! And Pursuit for providing delicious treats. Right on. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Kobe from Obaa Health. Thank you.
My name is Kobe Amon. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Obaa. At Obaa, our mission is to make quality specialist care available to everyone in a timely manner. We're addressing a problem that we have experienced personally and that affects millions of people across this country, and that is long wait times. Patients across this country have to wait for several weeks and months to get an appointment with a specialist. This is even true in the field of dermatology. If you live in Boston, you probably have to wait for about 72 days to get an appointment with a dermatologist. Now here's how this issue plays out in real life. Suppose a patient, Kara, goes to see her primary care doctor with a growth on her skin. The primary care doctor isn't sure of what it is. The usual approach is to hand her a business card and ask her to schedule an appointment with a specialist. Now you might be wondering, why would Kara go to see her primary care doctor instead of going directly to see a specialist? Well, dermatologists are unevenly distributed, and most people go to see their primary care doctor for skincare. In fact, about 42% of all cases to a primary care doctor's office are skin-related issues. So when Kara's handed the card, she'll run into the same issues I talked about. She has to take a day off from work, and she probably has to travel for several miles to meet her appointment. Well, instead of going through this hassle, we've built a product called Prime. Prime connects primary care doctors to specialists through video calls on Google Glass, and we're starting with dermatology. So let's see how Prime will make Kara's life better. Her primary care doctor can simply put on Google Glass, you can see in the image, and with a simple voice command like call on-call dermatologist, they'll be instantly connected to a remote dermatologist who can look at what is in front of the primary care doctor and come up with a diagnosis and a prescription. Now there are so many benefits to this. For the patient, obviously it saves you time and it saves you money. But for the provider as well, it serves as an extra source of income, and you can actually improve patient satisfaction whilst working flexible hours. When we launched this product, we didn't only want it to be an issue of convenience, so we did some research, and we found out that for people who use teledermatology, or primary care doctors who use teledermatology, they can in fact improve clinical outcomes by 69%. This is the market we're going after. We're starting with dermatology, and we estimate it to be a $600 million market. We plan to expand into broader uses like toxicology and hepatology. This is our business model. We connect primary care doctors to specialists through video calls. A patient pays $100 for the service, and it's reimbursable by certain insurance companies. $30 goes to the primary care doctor. The specialist gets $60, and we charge a $10 fee for every consultation on our platform. We've also partnered with Google, the makers of Google Glass, obviously, to get Glass at a 50% discount and to get technical support in our chosen vertical. So here are timelines. We launched version 1.5 of our product in October of last year, and we started a pilot with Mayo Clinic, the Waverly Health Center, and the Waverly Health Center in Iowa, and those pilots are still ongoing. We plan to conclude those pilots in March and expand our products throughout the Mayo Clinic network and sign on some additional customers. We've also received interest from the city of Philadelphia to use our products to connect primary care doctors who work in correctional facilities to specialists in the main hospitals. We've also received previous funding from the Clinton Global Initiative, MIT, and Pfizer. And we are currently raising $550,000 to expand our pilots across the Mayo Clinic network and hire an additional software engineer onto our team. And here's our team right now. I'm Kobe, I'm the CEO. My partner is a user interface designer and has worked on all applications. We also have advisors from Mayo and Aquan Consulting who help us with our business model and go-to-market strategy. So dermatologists believe that the future of dermatology is one where the specialist are actually connected to primary care doctors in a virtual setting. And we believe that our product is actually making this vision possible. And very soon, every primary care doctor will be able to connect with a specialist through video calls on Google Glass. Thanks.
Open up for questions.
Yes.
I was trying to follow along. It was a very quick, concise presentation, very clean looking. And one question I wasn't immediately answered. So I understand the benefit to a consumer. I don't have to go to one doctor, go drive to another doctor another day, repeat the process. But what's the benefit for the insurer? Aren't they still paying two doctors? How do they get a savings, or what's their rationale for participating?
Great question. So for payers, we can say, we can put them in two types. We have, let's say, the accountable care organizations and the health maintenance organizations. So one benefit is that you're able to keep referrals in your network. So let's say if Kaiser Permanente or Tenet is using our platform, all the referrals are going to specialists in your network, and there's some money savings over there. The other piece too is that from our pilot at Mayo, when a specialist looks at a case in front of a primary care doctor, they can easily say, well, I know what this is what, you don't have to refer the patients to us, and then that saves money. So that referral is not actually made on that end. But then in the HMO ACO model, it's more of like a licensing deal. So the whole $10 fee and paying the specialist doesn't really come, because all the providers on the platform are actually salaried employees. Different.
What's the patient experience? Do you have to like reschedule another appointment with your primary care to come back and have that conversation, or is it same time?
Yeah, so there are two scenarios. There's a real-time consultation piece of it. So if the primary care doctor puts on Google Glass and there's a specialist online, they can have a real-time consultation and the patient will get their diagnosis immediately. If the specialist is not around, you have to record a video and send it to the dermatologist who then come up with a diagnosis. You receive a link on your phone that's actually open to video diagnosis, so you don't have to come back to the primary care doctor's office to actually receive your diagnosis or the prescription.
What round of funding are you on now, since you're up to half the round?
Right, so we actually structured this as a convertible notes round, so pre-seed round. So yeah, that's
So
quite
this
structured.
is the first round?
This is the first round. The previous funding we received is actually non-equity funded from the organization. It's non-equity, so it's not diluted.
So just you two guys have all the equity right now?
Well, we're Health Outsiders company too, so and Health Outsiders, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I like the system, but I think where you're going to get pushback is the doctors. They don't care about that this because they got more business than they can handle.
Exactly.
And I think that's the biggest obstacle, because you go there, you wait in a waiting room, you fill out a bunch of forms. This, how would they do the pharmacy stages, all that, by putting on the Google Glass? I mean, I like it, it'd be great for the customers. I just think that
Right.
getting the doctors on board to change their profitable methods, they're not going to.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And when we started out, we talked to a lot of
Can you
dermatologists.
repeat the comment, or just to summarize the comment?
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
repeat the question.
Oh, he was basically asking if what the financial incentive will be for doctors or dermatologists on the platform for the patients. It's great because you can get the care you need faster. Why should a dermatologist do that? Well, as you can see from the presentation, the dermatologist actually earns about $60 from using our platform. And so our value prop to them is that if you're seeing an actual patient, you're probably going to spend 7 minutes, most 15 minutes seeing the patient. On our platform, you can actually see 3 patients within that same time. From the results we're seeing at Mayo, specialists don't actually spend a long time looking at the case. They watch a video and just like 1 minute, 50 seconds in, or 2 minutes, 10 seconds in, and you already have a diagnosis. So you can be able to fit in more cases on our platform into the same time period that you spend seeing an actual patient in your office. So in that way, the finance piece of it works out eventually.
Is there anything similar to this business model currently in operation?
Yeah, so Epic is actually introducing a system called e-referral, where people using the Epic platform can actually refer to other providers on the Epic platform, but it's a text-based system. So you write what you're seeing and send it in, you get a response back. That's actually very similar. Most other telemedicine apps actually consumer facing, so it connects you directly to a dermatologist or something, take a picture and send to a dermatologist.
I understand that Google's a partner with Obaa Health. Did they not discontinue Google Glass as of January 19th of 2015?
Actually, they did not. They discontinued the consumer version of Google
Okay.
Glass, and they're still making the enterprise version. And the version 2.0 of Google Glass is actually coming out in about a month or so with the bigger glass, more processing power.
The second part of my suggestion or other would be, could this work with FaceTime, like on an iOS device?
Yeah, it actually could work with FaceTime on the iOS device, yeah. But then there are some HIPAA compliance issues and things like that that you have to work out.
I've seen some other people are starting to get in the smart glasses space. Are you going to be able to, use those as part of your platform, or are you going to be exclusively Google Glass?
Well, for now, we've actually seen a couple of them actually. There's one from a company called Ivato in California. And we still think Google Glass is actually compelling. It's much better. Those glasses are pretty big and very uncomfortable for a doctor to be wearing in the office. So still think we would go with Glass.
If dermatologists are so hard to get a hold of, are you going to have a set team of them to call, or are you going? How is that going to work?
Right. So two things over there. For a healthcare system like the Mayo Clinic system, they already have their dermatologists in the network, so that's pretty easy. We onboard them onto the platform, we onboard the primary care doctors. But for independent offices, we need to onboard dermatologists independently. So what we do is that we work with dermatology groups. So one of the groups on our platform is the Cedar Valley Medical Specialists. They're about a group of 70 dermatologists. So we go to them and onboard them onto the platform, and you receive referrals as and when. So there are two sides of the equation. You have to onboard dermatologists at the same time and bringing on primary care doctors.
Is it common for these diagnoses to be made through video, and is there any liability issue with that?
Yeah, so the actually liability issues, but most malpractice insurance actually covers telemedicine right now. And the biggest teledermatology program is actually in California, the California prison systems, where dermatologists actually take care of prisoners remotely. And it's actually very, very successful. So it's not a new model, it's just that we are actually taking it and improving it and making it available to the masses. It's really out there. Yes.
So in terms of equipment and infrastructure, like who pays for or provides the glass, and where is that information stored? Does it get stored with the providers, or do you have to provide some sort of hosting service to bridge the BCP with the specialists?
So we actually store the information, so we store all the videos in our system in our backend, and we use Amazon Web Services. We actually working on an integration with Athena Clinicals right now, that EMR software. So in that case, they will be storing the video in their EMR. But as of now, we actually store the video. In terms of who pays for the glass, for Mayo Clinic, they actually pay for the glass, that network. And in the general model, the primary care doctor will buy the glass.
What happens if the doctor wants biopsy?
Sorry?
What happens if the doctor wants biopsy?
The dermatologist, I mean, right, so right now we have a lot of primary care doctors who specialize in a particular field, and so the remote dermatologist, they say, I'm not sure what this is, you get a biopsy, and the primary care doctor or the nurse practitioner can actually do it and report back to the dermatologist as well. So that's one use case we've seen. But then sometimes if the dermatologist is not sure, they'll just go like, well, let the patient come in. In that case, it doesn't really count as a consultation, and so they don't get any money for that. They don't bill for that.
Where are you guys based?
Sorry?
Where are you based?
We're based here in Dallas in the Alto building, the health workers building. We moved down here from Boston. Why did we move over? For the health workers program. So we stayed around after the program ended. Great. Thank you.
Startup Alerts, so let's give him a round of applause.
Hi, everybody. I'm actually not going to use the mic, that's okay. So, sorry, grew up active duty. I'm active duty military, speaking up is what I do. So, we built Startup Alerts. It's a mobile platform for entrepreneurs to discover events in your community. So our goal is to become the mobile gateway for entrepreneurship. So this is what the app looks like today. I have an iPad and an iPod sitting there so you guys can play with the app. So it's just events for entrepreneurs delivered. What you can do is you tell us what city you're in, you tell us what your interests are, and we'll send you notifications about the events that are going on in your area that you care about. So we're notifying people about events. We learned in our alpha test earlier this year that people don't care about all the other things going on. They care about meeting people face to face, engaging with them, and building that connection. So we really have to build an MVP for our beta test to focus on the things that people can go to, that engage with, so they can see people and have a physical connection that ties back to our experience. And so one of the other things we did is now we have an ability to send a custom notification to people. So for the Dallas Startup Week that's coming up, if we wanted to send out a custom reminder that said, hey, you should sign up for and register for the events because registration is going to be up by this time. Well, now we can do that. So we can engage people on a consistent coming back and forth basis. Big news. We are partnering with and working with Startup Digest to co-market the app in Dallas, Fort Worth, Seattle, Boulder, and Denver. So really excited to work with them on getting the platform out there. Events for Startup Digest, they have 700,000 plus people subscribed in 400 different cities. So we're really using this as a beta test to understand, do people want alerts? Do people want to engage on their mobile platform? And that's what we're here to test and discover. So what we've learned, again, events are dynamic. We tried to build a iOS app that was too much at first. We had too many things going on. We were trying to create a community directory. We were trying to include messaging and trying to do all sorts of different things and creating a platform for co-working spaces. But at the end of the day, 85% of our alpha test users were only coming back to the event section. And I'm bootstrapping all of this. So I realized that I just need to focus in on one thing. This is the first time I'm doing a startup. I'm learning a lot about the process, and I'm kind of doing it in a safe space while I have a job. But I've had a ton of fun learning about it. I have engaged in about 500 discussions about what the end user needs. And what I've really discovered is that this kind of in-person meeting is where the magic happens. And so to really build a long-term platform, then you need to start getting user engagement, and then you can add a next step. So our next steps for monetization are to possibly do referral fees. So if we're processing a ticket or pushing you to Eventbrite, we can maybe take 1% of that, and then we could possibly add promotions or ads. There's a lot of companies and services out there, or other startups that want to market to entrepreneurs. So we can possibly put those services into our platform in a promotion section. So challenges. I'm not a programmer. The rest of the team is not programmers. We hired this out. We actually have some offshore people doing programming right now. It's working out pretty well for us. Also, where I live, Shreveport, Louisiana is an interesting place, but the market's not big enough. The entrepreneurial community is not big enough. And being active duty military, my schedule flexes a lot. So it's challenging to be surrounded by the best practices and to get engaged. But opportunities like this are what we're seeking to overcome. So what questions do you guys have?
Chris, what got you interested in startup type of stuff? Background being your first startup. How did that come to you?
I like building communities and I like connecting people. So I realized that if I want to do that, the entrepreneurial space is where I want to be involved in. I am high energy. I love the community aspect of it, and so getting involved in building an entrepreneurial ecosystem is what I started doing. And I realized there was a business opportunity, and just became a lot more focused on events, which is how we got to this.
So can you walk me through the process of, like, if I'm an organization like Launch DFW, how do I get my information to you? Do I have to provide it, or do you go out and get it from me? Like, what's that process?
Sorry, I skipped over that. So we have an API backend that can import from Launch DFW, the Google Calendar. We just take their Google Calendar link and just put it into our API, and that's where it's pulling all the events from. And we can also pull from Facebook pages, Meetup, and Eventbrite as well. So it's automatically importing all of the events, and I'm just tagging them in the backend with the event interests.
are you just going out and doing that, or are those organizations providing you permission in case it's like, you know, it might be like a public Google Calendar, but you still want their permission? Like, how's that?
Yeah, so I have engaged with Launch CFW about pulling their calendar and putting it into the mobile platform. For the other cities, we're going to start just using their startup digests because they're already curating events in all of these areas. So now we're just providing a mobile avenue for that.
That gets my next question. Is there any curation just to make sure that the content remains really focused and targeted on entrepreneurial activities versus me just jumping in and providing information about my organization, which may be great, but it's not entrepreneurial really?
Yep, I'm doing that curation in the evenings. Taking care of that. Also going to see if we can work with the community leaders and the organizations that we're working with. We're not going to import from the bakery because those events are not important to us.
Is there any sort of search feature within the app? Because otherwise it's just the startup digest that I would get here in Dallas. So talk me through why I would download the app versus just sign up for a startup digest.
So you're able to get notifications about events and save events that you're interested in. Those are the two different features. We thought about adding search, but realized that people care more about just saving the events that they have and then getting reminded of them.
So 2 questions, save the events to your calendar or save it in your app?
Save it in the app right now, and we're going to be surveying whether the people want to save it directly to the calendar.
Well, I would echo the curation sentiment or tagging or some way for me to filter because while I love startup events, I can't go to them all and they all don't fit me. So I definitely think for you to be successful, that's something that's going to be critical.
So the way you can curate that right now is to just pick the types of events you're interested in, and so that'll curate it down. You'll have suggested events that you care about.
Are you looking for beta testers?
Yes. I'm looking for So you guys can play with the app on the iPad and the iPod right here.
I have one more question. Can you add offset events, or is it like a user can they add their events?
You have to send that information to me, and then I'll be able to add it from the back end there.
So Joe, you know that's not going to scale.
Right. Yes. The aspect that we're going to add into there is just hit the plus button and add an event or pull directly from Facebook. Just have that link, and we'll be able to take it from there. The API can already do a lot of that stuff, but didn't want to build out the front end until we started testing it in the community to see if in these 5 communities it's working, we're having user engagement, and then we'll put in some more time and effort into developing these little features for users on the front end when we expand to all of those cities.
One more question. You have contacts in all those other cities?
In those 5? Yes, ma'am.
So it seems to me like your target market, like where your money will come from, is really the event organizers themselves. How do you plan to differentiate from like meetup.com, which is really like, it already has kind of people that they're going to bring to your event. So naturally, like there's this organic growth that you get with something like Meetup that really fosters a community as opposed to just putting an event out there. How do you plan to compete with that?
So we're just trying to stay focused on one niche in the entrepreneurial community and trying to get more engagement in that area. And so that's the plan right now, still figuring that out.
So on that first screenshot, you got Dallas and then Fort Worth. So besides the fact it's not things like Dallas, Fort Worth, is that just targeting like only things in Dallas, or is that Dallas and around Dallas? Like, what does that mean in your app?
So that means within a 30-mile radius. So I know that those will interact a little bit, but it allows us to really only send you events in your local area.
Is it a hard break at 30 miles? Because I live 35 miles away from Phoenix.
So it does hard break at 30 miles. So if you set Dallas as your radius, it'll do 30 miles within the geo coordinates for Dallas. But if you actually hit current location, it'll do within about 30 miles of you.
At least for our area, you might consider expanding that because we kind of encompass in as well. There are events that do go on over North Plain can be at that edge.
That's part of the testing.
Just need a Metroplex option.
Metroplex option. I can see in the back and I can combine those, so that's great feedback. Thank you for that. So we'll be launching in February. We're just waiting on App Store approval right now. And then if you guys are interested in playing with the app or doing any of that, we can get you guys signed up. We'll send you an email when it's ready to download.
What's the name of the App Store gonna be?
Startup Alerts.
Startup Alerts. All right.
All right, let's give Joey a hand of applause.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Also, just a quick reminder to join the conversation on Twitter, 1 Million Cups DAL, D-A-L, and then we're also on Facebook, and please sign up for our weekly newsletter, which will give you all the information you need for next week's presenters.
And before we close this out, we'd like to invite Mr. Trey up on stage to tell you a little bit more about the deck.
Good morning. This is super exciting. This is my first 1 million cups this year. I didn't get to come last week, so excuse me. Thank you guys for being here. Real quickly, the deck is a nonprofit that helps entrepreneurs start businesses, and so let us know how we can help you. Some of the things that I always try to remind people is the free mentor office hours that we have both here and at the Treehouse. There's no better way to help your business than meet with people that have been there and done it before. So please take that as an opportunity. Let us know how we can support you. Some upcoming events in the community. There is Ignite DFW, which is the 26th. Startup Grind, which is here on the 27th. Health Wildcatters has a breakfast Thursday the 21st. We've got a couple of startup weekends that are going to be announced in the next few weeks, which will be really exciting and sort of some unique niche areas. And then we have 1 million cups every week. Is there anything else that I'm missing that's coming up soon? Does anybody else have something they want to share that's going on, or needs you have, or is anybody hiring or looking for a job? Anybody hiring? The deck is hiring. What are you hiring, Jill?
Hiring a full-time events and program person, and we're also looking for a director for Addison Treehouse.
Yes, our fantastic Addison Treehouse director got a phenomenal job opportunity to go and help run the Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at UT Dallas. And so we are super excited for Tara. But also have a great opportunity for somebody to help out at our Addison location. Last thing I'd say, and we talk about this occasionally, but about 2.5 months ago, the deck partnered with a great local firm called Triscom Public Relations to launch a PR firm focused specifically on early stage entrepreneurs called Pitch PR. Martin Stein is here. He is the VP of that organization. If you are interested in trying to figure out how do you approach PR as a startup, if you're interested in engaging a firm that is focused on more early stage entrepreneur budgets, Martin is here 3 days a week, and he's also around in the community going to different co-working spaces, different accelerators and things like that. So please make sure you find him, even if you just have some questions to ask. Thank you guys for being here. Have a great week. We will see you next Wednesday. And as always, bring a friend. Thank you.
Well, Zach, it was a pleasure meeting you. It's nice to meet you as well. All right, good to see you.